everybody, I'm Tiffany and today I'm doing another movie review. Let's go. I went to the movie theaters recently with Eddie. Hi Eddie. Hi. Him and I had a great time. It was super duper fun. Got to go to my theater where I work. I have been dying to see this movie ever since it came out in theaters. It's really new. I've been super excited about it and I finally saw it thanks to Eddie. The movie I am talking about is Dunkirk by Christopher Nolan. It is a war movie directed by Christopher Nolan. I don't think you know this, but Christopher Nolan is my favorite director. I love his movies. I love them. My favorite movie is Inception. Though I don't think people would think that. I think they think it's Titanic. But it's Inception. Because that movie has Christopher Nolan and Leonardo DiCaprio, who's my favorite actor. So everything that Christopher Nolan comes out with, I will jump on to see, whether people say they like it or not. I really like this jacket too. It kind of has the army green, so that's why I wore it, and it's really comfortable. I wanted to wear it. I was definitely a little bit worried going into this movie, just because when you work at the movie theater, you do hear a lot of the feedback from guests on movies sometimes. And I got really mixed reviews. There were some people saying it was great, it was wonderful, and then I had people saying it was slow and kind of boring, and some even said it was a little bit confusing. But that's a little bit of Christopher Nolan, because let's face it, every movie is kind of confusing till it comes to its end, and then you get it, and it's this mind-blowing effect. So I was a little bit worried going in, but it's also Christopher Nolan, and he always produces good content. So even his movies that may be considered not as good are still really good. I knew despite what I heard, I was going to see it anyway, and I got a lot of good reviews more than anything. I really wasn't that worried about not liking this movie. I really loved it, and I'm not sure if it's because I'm biased towards Christopher Nolan and I'm gonna love everything he did, but I thought it was awesome. It was a great movie. It's not that long of a movie, which is weird for Christopher Nolan. So I don't know if that throws people off a little bit. It's only an hour and 46 minutes. So the fact that it's Christopher Nolan and it's a war movie, which usually those are pretty long, it was kind of shocking it was that short. But I really did like the pace of it overall. I felt it was well built throughout, and I thought everybody did a really great job in this movie. It's definitely an anxiety-ridden movie though, just letting you know. Some people told me they were bored, but for me, I was just panicking throughout this entire movie. I'm pretty sure I jumped and scared Eddie a lot. I'm sorry about that. It can be frustrating a little bit at times, and I think the music score in the background makes it that much more intense, because the music in the background is literally a clock, and when you hear the clock going tick 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 tick, you're like, what is coming? What is coming right now? And the music would build, and then something would happen, but then it'd go back to the ticking clock. So just letting you know, if you're not looking for a super be nervous throughout the entire movie experience, then don't watch it. Just watch something mellow and calm. When you're wanting to feel that nervous, heart-pounding energy, watch this movie. For those of you who want statistics, this right now has an 8.5 out of 10 on IMDb. I don't know if it's going to stay there because, again, it just came out really recently. But that's a really good rating, and I really don't think it's going to drop that much farther. That's a reason to go see the movie, is that rating. It's really good. I think it definitely deserves an 8 or above. I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. For the actors, one thing that I love about this movie, especially being a young aspiring actress myself, is seeing all of these new faces that are getting their breakthroughs. I'm pretty sure they've been in the business forever, because if you don't know, this business takes forever. Seeing a movie that's really big, directed by this really big known director, and seeing that he put all of these newer faces on the screen, along with some veterans that have been in there forever, it felt really nice to see that. And the fact that the main characters in there are played by newer actors was really nice. You're mainly following these newer actors. I'm doing a warning right now. I'm sorry if I pronounced these names wrong. There's Fionn Whitehead. I don't know if I pronounced that right. I'm sorry. Damien Bonnard, Anurin Bernard, a bunch of other people. Harry Styles is in this. If you like One Direction, go Harry Styles. He did actually a good job in this, so good job, Harry Styles. There's Mark Rylance, there's Cillian Murphy, there's Kenneth Branagh, Tom Hardy, a lot of really great actors, and then these newer people, and I really liked that combination. For those of you who want a synopsis, it recreates a historical event that happened. It was a battle in Dunkirk, France, and basically the battle was lost. The Allies realized that, so the British Army decided to try and evacuate their troops to safety before they could actually all get injured. The story is them basically trying to get these troops back home to England while the Axis powers are constantly coming at them and trying to stop them. And they're on this whole little beach alone and out in the open. So they're pretty easy targets, and they're not afraid to go for those targets. It's a historical event. You can learn about it. Go learn about it. Learn history. Overall, it was really, really good. I really liked it overall. I don't know if everybody will like it just because, again, getting the mixed reviews, I think some people will, some people won't. I appreciated the length of it. It's weird to see Christopher Nolan and a war movie combined not being super duper long, but I do appreciate that it was short because it kept that intense energy level throughout the movie for me. And I saw it in 70mm, which is really cool. Being a film fanatic, I was really happy. My theater was playing it in 70mm. That's really all I can tell you without spoiling you. Goodbye non-spoilery people. Go watch Dunkirk and then come back and then we can discuss all the feels and your anxiety levels when you come back. Love you guys. Goodbye! Dunkirk. Now, I don't know why, when I first saw the trailers, I thought Tom Hardy was a bad guy. Because they always showed him in the airplanes, and then the airplanes were always bombing the beach where all these helpless soldiers are. In my mind, I'm thinking that Tom Hardy is the bad guy. Luckily, he wasn't. I loved rooting for Tom Hardy throughout that, and he saved their butts. I was really proud of Tom Hardy, even though his name isn't actually Tom Hardy in this, but I'm still gonna call him Tom Hardy. That was a really nice moment, is hearing them cheer and seeing him finally defeat those planes, because those planes were annoying. Oh my gosh, I cannot tell you how many times you would hear it and you just wanted to scream duck at the screen and take cover, and you knew people were going to die. And it was so frustrating because every time they got a new ship, every time they were loading a ship, they bombed the ship and it flipped, and I do think that out of everything, you do get a personal connection to some of the characters, but not a ton of them. You don't get a super, 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 super deep connection to anybody. If you got a deep connection to anybody, I think it'd be Mark Rylance's character, Mr. Dawson and his son. I think those are the characters that I personally was invested in the most, and I really wanted them to get to Dunkirk and be able to help all of these soldiers. Not just because I wanted them to help all these soldiers, but because they were genuine good people. All the other ones, I had sympathy for them, don't get me wrong, and I felt really bad for all the soldiers, but there wasn't a moment of complete, utter panic for one character for me. Like the moment where Gibson, I think, dies. That didn't impact me, I think, as much as it should have. I really felt for him and I didn't want him to die. And seeing him struggle in that water was painful. It didn't really make me cry or anything like that because there wasn't enough personal knowledge about the character for me to actually have an emotional impact on that. It still hit me, don't get me wrong. And for me, what hit me more were the situations they were put in than the actual characters getting hurt themselves. It was the risk of danger they were in. And all of the soldiers were sitting in that boat waiting for the tide to come, for it to raise, and so they were able to move the boat and get out of there. And they were being shot at, and that one guy gets shot in the eye, and then water's flowing in, and they're threatening to kick Gibson out because he's French and he should stay behind. That was all really intense, and I wanted to scream at them, just get out of the stupid boat. This is pointless. You're not going anywhere. You're going to drown. And then Gibson does. They should just listen. So that's what I meant, is those intense situations, I felt for that, but there wasn't a moment in there for me where you saw a really tragic, heroic death maybe. Even the end with Tom Hardy, he gets taken in by the German soldiers, and I get that, and he probably dies. And that part was powerful, with the airplane burning and sacrificing himself knowing that he's going to probably die. That was powerful. The younger soldiers, I didn't have as much of an impact. Mr. Dawson and his son, and then Tom Hardy's character and the pilots, I really felt for throughout. And I felt for the soldiers too, don't get me wrong, just not as much as the others. I think it's because the pilots and Mr. Dawson and them were the ones who could go and save them all, where the soldiers themselves were really helpless. So you felt helpless with them, but there really wasn't anything you could do, so you were really rooting for the people who could actually go out and do something. And the soldiers in here, it's them trying to survive, and you feel that. And they don't always do the most righteous thing, but they want to survive. I thought Cillian Murphy's character was really interesting though, the shell-shocked soldier. I was really upset that he killed George. I was really mad. I liked that George was in the paper at the end, though. I did like his character overall. He was really interesting. I just wish he was in the movie more. I think that's the only problem with the length. That I do like the pace, but it kind of feels like your interactions with each character gets cut short. If the movie was longer, then you get more invested in the characters and learn about them more. Cillian Murphy's character, he was really impactful, and you felt horrible for the guy, but he knocks down this kid, and then you have Mr. Dawson's son telling him that, yeah, he's going to be okay when the boy has actually really died, to save the soldier from any more grief. So that's the only thing, is that I feel like if the movie was longer, I'd have more of an impact with the characters because you're with them longer. Not that I like characters to be tortured, don't get me wrong. I just want to be really personally invested in them. And I was in a way, just not in other ways. That scene at the beginning with them trying to get the injured man, I thought they were going to miss it. I'm sorry. I thought that was that type of movie. Luckily they didn't, but oh my gosh, then the boat explodes and the guy's still on there. And I was just sitting there wanting to put my hand to my face thinking, this was all for nothing. They just saved this guy. The ship tumbles and he's dead. You know he's dead. I was really mad. That was mean, Christopher Nolan, because that was a tease. Because you think they're gonna miss the boat because Christopher Nolan isn't all about super happy. You don't think they're gonna make the boat, but then they do make the boat, and then they can't go on the boat, so that's sad. But then you realize that the guy that they just put on the boat, they just doomed him even more because the ship tips over. Wow! Way to just play with my emotions and make me think this guy was somehow going to survive. I did get a little bit how people said it was kind of confusing, though. There was a timeline element that they did, and at first I was a little confused and jarred by that when it really first happened to me, and that was with Cillian Murphy's character again, because you see him on the boat with Mr. Dawson, but then it cuts to this moment where he's denying soldiers to be in this boat. There's not enough room in the boat, he says, and to go find another one, and the characters he's talking to are the main soldiers that you're following. And so I was really confused at that because it showed him before he was shell-shocked, and I was just like, wait, he was just shell-shocked on this boat. Wait, what? There were moments like that, timeline-wise, where it wasn't clear that it was jumping back, then moving forward, then jumping back again, then moving forward, and they're just going do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Like that was a little bit confusing. Everything that was nerve-wracking, though, had to do with water, because since they were on a beach and surrounded by water, they're all drowning. The moment where the pilot is stuck in the plane and the water is coming in, I was panicking insanely. I did not know if they were going to make it. That's the thing about Christopher Nolan, is you don't know. You really don't know if they're going to make it or not. The main moments were when the water was slowly rising, and I'm just like, this keeps happening. They all keep getting stuck in water. And I love water. I'm a swimmer. This made me not like water in the movie. I'm sorry, water. I love you. You keep me refreshed. I have a glass right here. I love you. But in the movie, you were mean. Kenneth Branagh's character I was a little bit confused about. Again, I think it was the lack of not really getting to know him. It's supposed to be this really nice moment when he says he's going to stay behind and help his fellow countrymen and help the French in some way, and I think that was really noble. I just feel, again, if we had more of a connection to him personally, then it'd be even more impactful that he's staying behind. But it still was a really good, strong statement. Everything made in here was a strong statement, and I really enjoyed it. It's just upping the level a little bit, and then it would have been completely mind-blowing, though it was still decently mind-blowing. That's really all I have to say about this movie. If you haven't seen Dunkirk, I don't get why you stayed through spoilers, but you know what? Go and watch Dunkirk, because it's a really good movie overall. I think I would have wanted it to be a little longer just to have more character development, but at the same time, I really liked the pace of it, and it made me really anxious throughout this entire thing. Thank you, Eddie, for coming with me. That was really fun. Let's go again. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you have any other book or movie recommendations, you can always leave them in the comments below. I love your comments, so continue to bring them to me. I love it. Thank you so much, and have a wonderful day, evening, afternoon, whatever time of the day you're watching this, and don't forget to be awesome. Goodbye!